Test. Hello everyone, I am KraftKraken and this is episode 3 of Canvas Connections. On this show, I guess, this stream, I use jigsaw puzzles to highlight great artwork that I stumble upon online. And the reason for starting this series is that we live in an age where we just scroll past tons of great artwork in a matter of seconds, and I feel that it kind of serves them an injustice. And by doing puzzles, we can appreciate the art for longer. So today I have art from some artist too, who does fantastic landscape illustrations. And hold on. And yeah, and he does this with economic brushwork, excellent color range, and evocative lighting. And I really dig it. So as we work on this puzzle, the whole thing will come together. This is using a tabletop simulator and a mod called oh, the name's escaping me. Hold on. Jigsaw Join. It's good stuff. You can do all sorts of different puzzles here with many different piece shapes. And we are currently doing 12 by 16, 192 pieces. But if I was like crazy, we could do a 4,000 piece puzzle, basically. Yeah, I'm not doing that. That's crazy. But you could do basically whatever you want with this little module. I highly recommend it. So I'm thinking the last two I think have been over 200 pieces. I think it was 400. And I could get those done in 3 or 4 hours. But I'm thinking that there's just so much art online and stuff that I'm just gonna do multiple little ones instead. I think that's more of an exciting, I guess, experience, right? So we're gonna go with 192 for now. And over time I'll see how I feel. I'll probably end up bumping it down to 100. For some rapid fire puzzles. Well, I say rapid fire, but it'll probably take an hour or 30 minutes depending, right? And we can get through more art. All right, well, sit back, relax, grab a snack, whatever, and I'm gonna get into it. So another interesting thing is that on this side here, there's a leaderboard. So if anyone were to join me, we kind of compete for connections. So this is the full artwork, but I'm going to dim it so that it's kind of easier to put the pieces on, so that the values aren't getting confused and stuff. But also I think from a before and after effect is quite nice for this series as well. So let me just turn down the music. Alright, that'll do. The music is from, so I was just checking to see if Tabletop Simulator was reacting to my push to talk button. Anyways, the music is from League of Legends sessions. So you can find it online, make a little playlist, and you can set up a stream yourself too. Alright. It is reacting to the button press. Okay, that's fine, whatever, I'll ignore it. So the first thing I learned is that I can sort these. And the radial format's nice, but I find that like my eye wanders a lot. So I like to kind of sort these into nice little like boxes. Oh, you can only select so many at a time. Oh. So I think it's while you have them left click selected, you hit shift 1, 2, 3, or 4, and that indicates like the rows that they go into. Let's try it now. Alright, so now I'm going to kind of sort these out by color to kind of keep things a bit easier. I need to lock that. Great, so that means I can't pick it up or accidentally move it, which could cause problems. I've had issues in the past where like if you grab it, sometimes the pieces will snap under the or phase through the board, which is obviously annoying. This reminds me of Bob Ross. Bob Ross's work right here. I watched a video recently. I should know the YouTube content creator's name, but he did a video of like everyone trying to follow along with Bob Ross, like digital artists. It was a very interesting video actually. Because like Bob Ross knew exactly how to use his brushes to get the effects that he wanted. And he was also like using a palette knife for texture. And when you're using a brush like that, he just like he speeds through the process so quickly. Like it made me really consider like what brushes I'm using for my own work. Because like what I think he did was he took a kind of wide brush, and the bottom half of it was dark green, and the top half of it was like this chartreuse green, right? And whenever he dabbed it, it was like it gave the impression of light coming from above for these kind of bundles of leaves on the trees, right? So he was able to just like dab in trees with like such speed. And when you're a digital artist, like oftentimes your brush is very binary, right? It's like, oh, it's one color and it might have a texture, right? So that really got me thinking about like, you know, how to, or, you know, it got me thinking about what brushes I'm using and if I can manipulate them to like do specific things, right? I've seen some brushes that like do like kind of like a skin texture and color, like kind of automatically, which is nice, but the highlight's always in the center. And like the guy who posted it, he said it was for thighs. I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool, you know, but so it makes you wonder like how many brushes you can make for like specific body parts and all that, and really kind of like within your process. So anyways, I think this is a good distribution of colors. There's a lot of blues in the mountains and stuff like that, but we'll get to them. So we got our foreground elements here. And our background elements here. Alright, this is much better. So, oh, did I place that perfectly? No. Kind of wish I could orient them, but that'd be cheating, as in like orient them perfectly. That's cheating! I dig the little signature. Very out of the way. Whenever my camera zooms in like that, it's because I hit the middle mouse button. And ultimately, I think I need to start. Oh, does it not snap? Interesting. If I have this box open, it doesn't snap. I might have to change this somehow. That's somewhere there for sure. There we go. There we go. That was a good find right there. I think you gotta change the push talk button. I don't know what to though. I have an idea. I need to change my Razer keyboard binding as well. All right. This should be much better. So that thing doesn't keep popping up on me. There we go. Oh, it connects to this one. Oh. Would you look at that? There we go. Yeah, I've been pretty busy these days. Well, I say busy, but I've been working, that's for sure. As much as I can. I ended up watching Jaden Animation's video about her discovery that she had ADHD, and it's interesting because like the I'm trying to remember the name of the other YouTube content creators. Oh, their skits are so funny. With like Greg, it's like something NPC man or whatever. Oh god, the name of them escapes me. They'll come back to me, but they've been doing this ADHD series as well, and on my path to self-discovery, I thought I had like a certain set of issues, right? And when I watched Jaden's video, it just like felt like my experience. And I was like, holy crap. You know, like I already kind of like had an inkling of the idea that I had it. But after watching that video, I was like, oh my god, you know, maybe I just do. And it's like one of those things, the part where she was like, oh, it's just the laziness kicking in or whatever, right? Or I'll do better. You know, like I could just, it's a matter of willpower, you know? It just does not feel that way. It's like a whirlwind of, well, first of all, going activity to activity is like, there's just like this force. To me, it feels like a psychic spider web almost, like you're pushing through, you know? And it just like pulls you, it pulls you away from like the task you're supposed to be doing. It just like frays your mind a bit. And if you have like a good day, you could just like push through it, right? But usually it just like it doesn't feel like a choice, you know? Like even setting up for this, like there were so many little distractions I got caught up with. And like in the part of the problem is that like the more logical you are, the more your mind justifies the distraction. And then it's like, okay, well, I'll just watch this video because it's only gonna be like 2 minutes, and like you see another one, you click that and whatever, right? And that's, you know, could also be a part of like workspace, right? But like when you're working on the computer and all that, you know, you can't really, like, you know, when I set up the music for this stream, I'm on YouTube, right? So I'm gonna see those recommendations. Not that like I'm clicking every single one of them, but you know, like one or two here and there. Then it's like, oh, I gotta do this thing, and you get up and you go do the thing, and then yeah, it's just so wild. It really is. I know it might sound like a lot of malarkey, but I bring it up because I think that understanding yourself is really key in moving forward in the world. And you know, if you find yourself like super distracted all the time, or like you just you fall into these like patterns of laziness that like for some reason you can't shake, or you have like thoughts that like just you can't stop, like especially when it comes to like hyperfixation, because like, you know, when I've kind of, I feel like I've always been this way, but I haven't really realized how I want to say, I don't want to say how disruptive, but like I never really had that outsider perspective on like the mental behavior, because I've been really trying to pay attention to my own inner thoughts, right? Like be that watcher of your thoughts. And so my buddy's been getting into paper magic, and you know, like I usually play like digital formats and stuff because of expenses and la di da. Anyways, I got like a commander deck. Alayla is my commander of choice, by the way. Initially, my commander was Primacon because like Pramacon's so cool and like abstract. I really dig that. But I thought about it, and like I wanted to get a precon, and Alayla felt like the best pick because I like I like blue tempo a lot. And she kind of complements that style of play. And Goad is like a really fun mechanic in a 4-player environment, of course. So I kind of dig that. And she doesn't seem too OP. It seems pretty fun, so that's why I picked her. Anyways, there was a night where, or a day, where I could not stop thinking about all the different like combinations that I could do, and like ideas for different commanders. And I was pretty like set. I still am set on like not buying more cards, right? Because I'm just very frugal with my money. It's like, you know, part of the survival strategy, right? But I just could not stop thinking about it. And then I was like, I even remember thinking to myself, like, this is kind of getting out of control. I need to, like, can I think about anything else? And my brain was just like, no. Right? Like, this is what we're thinking about. And listening to Dr. K made me, it's pretty damn insightful. So I recommend listening to Dr. K stuff. And there's a whole bunch of sources of wisdom, but anyways, that's just a habit of mine of, like, discrediting the thing I'm about to say or whatever. Not discrediting, but, like, you know, proposing counters. But point being, anyways, watch Dr. K. Lots of good stuff there. But perceiving your mind as like an organ of your body, like your heart or your lungs, right, is a very interesting way to think about it. Because like most people identify, or I wouldn't say most people, but some people identify with their body, and some people identify with their mind, right, like their thoughts, right? But like, if you think about it, there's like a third thing, which is like the watcher of your thoughts, right? Because like you could a thought might come up and you might like notice that thought come up, right? Like it just comes out of nowhere. It's especially like, you know, in the memes where like people are going to sleep. It's like, oh, I'm going to sleep now. And the brain just like turns on a thought, right? And when you have that kind of perspective on like your brain, right? It kind of like contextualizes a lot of the contextualizes a lot of like the medicinal stuff about it, right? Like being treated for ADHD, right? Like, you know, it's not so much like there's a problem with you, like the watcher, right? It's a problem with like your brain. It's just like firing off these like things, right? These thoughts. And man, like, you know, the more that I like start tune into like that kind of side of me, or that side of like my body, I should say, it really, I feel a bit clairvoyant, right? Because like, holy crap, like this is probably what's happening. So I'm gonna go get like, I'm gonna go talk to my doctor about it and all that. And there have been some stuff that we've tried before that like has helped, because I've dealt with some anxiety stuff. But you know, I've been doing like exposure therapy, for like, you know, self-piloted exposure therapy, right? Like I don't have a therapist who's telling me to do it, but I know that it helps. So I've been doing that, and I kind of starting to, the more I think about it, I think there might be some sort of like anxiety issue, but I think it's secondary to the ADHD, because like the mannerisms of ADHD, the signs are a lot more coherent, or they track a lot more than what I thought were signs of like anxiety issues, right? Because I thought it could be both, right? A little column B, but I kind of tethered my like quote unquote laziness with like anxiety, right? Like, oh, pent up anxiety over time creates this behavior, right? And that's the issue with like the logical mind, right? Because like, you know, you'll create justifications for these experiences, and being cognizant of, you know, all the mental stuff that's out there and like what the signs are and whatever, like, you know, having that outsider perspective is important, and especially, you know, just, you know, just pay attention to what you're thinking, how you're thinking, you know. And I'm not saying like freak out or anything, but you know, like if you could figure out that like you got something going on and you could just, you know, get some treatment for that, you could live such a better life, you know. Because like the part of the video where Jaden like knocked out her script in like 3 hours, when it was like taking her like so long to build up to it, like that's gotta feel so damn good, right? Like, you know, I've had moments too, like as an artist, and there are memes online too, where like an artist starts a project and then they get tired or whatever, and then like the next day they do like 2 lines and then they just like close the program. It's like, I vibe with that, you know. Like there are days though, and it's weird too, because like there are days sometimes where you'll just be like on the ball, you're good, and like you're in the flow state, and like you're just doing, and other days you're just like not, right? And that's when you'll be like, oh well, you know, it's the laziness, it's the whatever, you know, like this is my limit, right? So a lot of interesting brain stuff I've been paying attention to these days. It's a connection. Sweet. I know this tree goes over here. This is like really dark. Yeah, I knew that was around there. This goes here. Nice. That goes a bit down like this. I'm gonna brighten this like a little bit. Yeah, I think that's probably best. It's weird to find like the perfect spot. Okay, that's probably better. There we go. Nice. You know, the economy of his brushwork really astounds me. Like, I have massive respect for artists who can just like paint like this. Because it's like, you know, for me, I hyper fixate on like the little details and like building them up. I'm pretty like cognizant about like not zooming in too much, you know, I always try to work at a distance. But like you could just see how glibly he did these trees, like, you know, just like, you know, like done, right? And a little bit of like those blues thrown in, you know, like for the sky. It's so good. And it just like looks so natural, you know? So I wish I could just like paint like this. I have a lot of respect for people who do like super detailed work as well, but I think that there is tons of value in like being able to work economically like this and capture such like a great scene with like without having to, you know, like was just so much gesture, I guess, so much like, I don't know what to call it. I think saying roughness like kind of detracts from the skill level that's going on here, but just so economically. Really good stuff. Yum, yum, yum. I say this is economic, but I wonder how long this took him to make. Oh, these are rocks. Okay, there we go. Boom. Nice. It's all come together. But other than self-discovery and all that, this has got to go here. Yeah, there you go. This is upside down. There we go. I've been working on a lot of like Pathfinder stuff. Trying to find new ways to advertise my work. So I ran like an Icewind Dale campaign, and that's been tons of fun because I'm very passionate about Icewind Dale, and like I've had it sitting around for so long and I haven't like acted on it. And I was like, you know what, fuck it, we're finally gonna run this thing, right? It's right here. There, it's cool. And so, but in running it, I wanted to rewrite a lot of the, like just a lot of it. Like it's very PG-13 for a horror adventure. And I didn't want to do like too much work because it was my first time jamming Pathfinder. And God, I gotta tell you, like running Pathfinder also gave me lots of insights into myself as well. Like how I take notes, how I remember like character details, you know, how I'm like role playing, how I feel while trying to do all that stuff. and like just jumping right into it, right? So that was very insightful too, or gave me insights. But it was fun. It was a pretty good experience. I ran 4 sessions in the same starter adventure. I did the towns of Goodmead and Dogan's Hole, and that's been fun, for sure. I started with like a, I wanted it to be like a quick, all right, Morty, this is gonna be a quick 20-minute adventure. You know, it's like fucking 3 weeks later, right? No, but I wanted it to be kind of quick. That's why I only did 2 of the towns. I only did like up to level 3 content. But I started with a fucking excuse me, with an intrigue like kind of quest, right? Like, oh, the shopkeep is like has upped their prices, and the town speaker tried to talk some sense into her but couldn't. And he needs the party to kind of like figure that out, right? So most teams got down to the bottom of the issue. Some took longer than others. Some took longer than others. And one team just didn't, right? So it's very interesting to like kind of run an adventure multiple times and see like what kind of solutions people come up with. It's like, this is the intent. How long does it take the players to do this thing, you know? That was a lucky drop. I didn't realize it goes right there. But we take those. There we go. See a rock at the top there. Nice. Very cool. So now, so what I did in that adventure, like to advertise my work, I took all the D&D characters I made and I like made pre-made characters, and I presented them as an option. And when the players were like kind of making their characters, I had this kind of like campsite scene where there was a bunch of different tokens of my characters around the campfire or whatever, the camp scene. Like there are multiple camp sites in the whole scene. It was like a huge one, right? So the players got to like walk around and look at them, and that was pretty cool. I really dig that. I think that was effective. But at the same time, like I think part of the issue was like, so even if they did use my character art, it would be inconsistent with the world, because a lot of like the other art out there is like not stylized. It's kind of like representational, but like, you know, with a slight style on it, right? And then like some players were using AI artwork, and some players were using like their own art, and I don't mind if people want to use their own art. That's fucking awesome. Kind of cringe at AI art, but ultimately like there wasn't enough push for it, right? So in the next adventure that I'm writing up, it's a completely custom one set in Ustalav, in Galarian, Pathfinder 2. I went and I drew every single NPC in that adventure. And then like I'm going to force people to use the pre-made characters, so that there's like this kind of aesthetic consistency, right? And I have a character for every single class in the game. I'm not going to like force them down a build though. Like if they want to take the art and do something else with it, that's totally okay. But that is the current strategy. I feel like these days when it comes to advertising art, and I talk very meta about this stuff and very like directly, because like I want to support artists and contribute to this space. I've always wanted to. So, you know, I'm a very pro artist person as well myself, so I don't mind talking about these strategies. But I think that with AI on the rise, right? I think that it is what it is. AI is just going to like take a lot of the easy work, let's say. It's tough to just post your art and have it track, right? Like you either need to be really good, you have to do something with social commentary, or like maybe you're starting a story or something. Like, you know, there's got to be some. Hold on. You gotta have like a strong niche, right? And people are scrolling past artwork so fast these days. I don't know. Like just posting art's never really worked for me. And you know, that could just be a skill issue, right? Like, or I'm not using social media in like the best way, or I'm like not, you know, doing enough fan art, you know. And they're like, you know, I'm kind of like a jack of all trades, and some people would cringe at that. But being a jack has gotten me a lot of work. It's helped me survive for like 3 years. So there's definitely utility in it. And so sometimes I do put out artwork that's like shitty. Because I'm trying to like hit this style I like haven't attempted before or whatever, right? So, you know, there is utility to being a jack. Is this like this? I'm trying to just put the pieces down here. There we go. Oh, this goes here. I'm freaking out about this piece. I feel like I'm missing something. Like this doesn't go here, does it? No. This is like mountain stuff. Oh, I see this piece. This is like here. Ah, this is up here. Okay. Cool. So, forget exactly where I was going with that. But yeah, being a jack is useful. I do pixel art. I do, so I do like stylized stuff, like my avatar. I kind of like the cartoony side of things because like there's some artists I really look up to who have this kind of punchy cartoon style, and they're just so efficient. I think that quantity helps. Having a quantity-based art style versus like high detail can really help put out a lot of content, which means you can tell stories, which means you can get people familiar with like your characters and all that, and just give you more posts, right? So that's kind of where I decided to lean into. Like I have done stuff that's like more detailed, kind of like this. I'm not gonna say my work is like matching this, but like no, I could render some really nice water if I have to. Let me just put it that way. And I have a client who like wants more rendered stuff, so I've been like exercising that a bit. So I don't know. I feel like quantity is best, but when it comes to the whole D&D stuff, I think like I was talking to this one guy about AI art and how he's like not concerned about it at all, which I found was a very interesting take. Because he thinks that it comes down to making clients feel seen and heard most. And oh, there we go. And I kind of vibe with that notion, right? Like an AI will never be able to, well, not never be able to. It depends on how intelligent it is, right? But like ultimately, us human artists still have that human edge when it comes to like, there we go, cool. When it comes to networking and all that, right? And I think that as time moves on, we need to lean on that human connection even more to like network, right? Because that's just how it's always been done for humans, right? I think it's going to continue to be done that way. And I think that running like these D&D games helps build that human connection. It makes people feel seen and heard in the very literal sense. They're like, hey, what do you do? You know? There's like ogre attacking you, right? And also it gives you like that one-on-one, or not one-on-one, but like, you know, very kind of private time with the group, right? compared to like just posting your art and hoping these people click on it, right? So I think delivering an experience with your artwork, and I'm choosing to do that through roleplay, can be super effective. And I have gotten some decent results from the Icewind Dale campaign, but I've learned a lot, and I think I could streamline the experience a lot more and present the characters in a stronger, tighter format. And I'm going to be trying that out soon, so we'll see where that shakes up. I'm very curious, because like if it just doesn't work, and I have to go back to the drawing board again, I kind of don't know what to do at that point. Like I think I will just start doing little comics of like my characters doing things, because like I have these OCs and they're all staring at me expectantly. It's like, okay, you made us, like, you know, what's our story, right? And I've been so, not reluctant, but like I've had an idea of a game I want to do that includes the OCs, right? And there's been some like coding issues, of course, and la-di-da. So I haven't been like doggedly pursuing it in exchange for more like short-term gain type stuff. But I haven't had the willpower, I guess, to like do all these short-term commissions and then like work on the long-term game after that. And I'm really hoping that like this self-discovery leads into, I don't know, some medication that could kind of get me like on track, because as much as like I don't want to have ADHD, if I do have it and I can get treated for it, and that's amazing, because then I could be, you know, like X% more efficient, right? So hoping that will help. There we go. Look at those brush strokes right there. Just, you know? Like he's definitely got a brush that has multiple like spots in it, right? So it looks like an actual bristle brush or whatever. And I really need one of those for Clip Studio. Like I've been using thin gouache a lot for my more like rendered stuff, but ultimately like just relying on that thin gouache to do everything, it's a low resolution way of working, in the sense that like it's not, I don't want to say, it's not like cohesive enough, like it's not very intelligent, I guess. Like I could be using a lot more brushes for specific jobs, and that's what you should be doing too with digital art, right? Like you collect all these brushes, and well, the ones that you feel are pertinent, right? Or maybe just collect them over time, right? Based on project. And you use what makes sense. Use the right tool for the job. A lot of people will tell you that you don't need brushes. And this much is true. Like you don't need them to make good artwork. But if you're talking about like being efficient with your time and working in a way that's like, I'm just gonna go back to the word more intelligent, right? More efficient. Then yeah, like using some brushes can definitely help your workflow, right? So at the beginning, don't use them to skip fundamentals though, right? Like, you know, none of this could be done right here without tons of fundamental understanding, right? Like this guy knows how to set up a scene. He knows how to control his colors. He knows how to, you know, make the comps and use lighting effectively, right? So there's a lot going on here, which is why I dig it so much. Just go like this. There it does, yeah. That goes there. There we go. So that's been me recently. Thank you for listening to my ramblings. Nice. I think I'm gonna separate, well, I want to separate the clouds from the mountains, but there's a lot going on between them, so I think it'd be a bit difficult to do actually, because there's like a lot of white in the snow and white in the clouds. We could definitely get like the pinks kind of together, right? I saw that Joel Haver is being featured in Smiling Friends. That's so amazing, bro. I really love the it's a weird space. I love the juxtaposition of like different styles in like the same like kind of package, right? And I think about that a lot for like D&D. I know it's kind of like I kind of when I words English. I like the idea that everyone has their own perspective at what the D&D scene looks like, right? Like a roleplay space. Because like everyone has their own experience, right? Like some people have more of like a Harry Potter lens. Some people have more of like a Conan lens, right? Some people have like an anime lens, you know? And I think that's fucking awesome. How people can have these different perspectives on the same scene, right? So when Smiling Friends does that, it's super cool, I think. Not to say it's unique to Smiling Friends or anything like that, la-di-da. But I just like seeing it in general. It kind of helps you like express certain things that you might not be able to in the default media or medium of the show, right? They kind of give things different feels. You know, the funny thing is that like my avatar will activate when there's background noise, but my avatar isn't like set to push to talk. That's why it does that. So like maybe I'll have to like fix that at some point, if it's fixable. That little dot in the center, that fleck of light is what led me to that piece. Where does this go? I am super confused right now. There's no way it does that. What? It's a corner piece. So let's go here or here, right? Oh, this is in the wrong spot. Oh, I see. Okay, okay, okay. There we go. Nice. It's about right there. Ah, I see. This is right here. Ish. This is like right there. No, this is right here. That goes there. I love the fucking brushwork in the clouds, right? It's like, it's not, it's soft, but he's using a lot of like scratchy brushes too, right? To like feather the edges. Very interesting. Because you might not consider using something so scratchy or noisy for that kind of job, right? Like some people might just be like, oh yeah, I use a soft brush, right? Like an airbrush. But you lose out on like the kind of I don't know, I want to call it like a natural feeling, but like I'm getting the impression that like it's almost like as if an old school painter did it, right? Like with an actual brush. I think that has a nice feel. Found it. Goes right here. His work makes for great puzzles too. His scenes are very active. There's lots of elements to grab onto visually. I feel like this is a peak. Given the green, I feel like it belongs over here. But these slant more than that. I think this is this. I think this goes right here. There we go. This goes right there. The system agrees. I've also been seeing I'm on YouTube, you know, quite often, so I see all these clips of like Fillion from Twitch, and like she even had a stream with the Twitch CEO or something like that. God, she is just a free spirit, just doing her own thing, and I appreciate that. I dig that. Very gruel, I feel. I wish I could live a life that's kind of like that, you know? Just kind of, you don't really care. Like, you just kind of do what you want to do. You don't question it, you know? Be outgoing. And maybe that's all an act at the end of the day, you know? When she turns off the stream, she's a complete introvert. But I somehow doubt that. What a great character. I love the colors in that piece. You know, I think a true superpower is the ability to laugh at oneself. That's like such a charismatic trait. It's like not even funny. Like it's just, it's also like command over the ego too, which is so huge. It's like, yeah, I look like an idiot doing this thing, but that was funny as hell. Let's all point and laugh. Other people are like, oh shit, I fucked up. And they'll miss out on like a moment to make everyone, you know, shared laughter. So I've been trying to get better at that too. I think I'm not like so egotistical or anything like that, but like, you know, when you're trying to detach from things that cause you stress, I guess it's good to like being able to have command over the ego, right? And it's not to say that like, oh, if things are stressful, just detach from them. Like something should be stressful, right? But like the moment your ego gets involved, it could start making you do things that like, you know, are suboptimal, right? Because like you don't want anyone to make you look bad, or you want to look good in front of like, you know, XYZ people, right? So like it's a different, the ego has a different objective, right, than like what's going on the ground, right? Jocko talks about that a lot, where all of his, well, not all of his dudes or whatever, but like some guys that he works with like have ego issues, like that. He points to that quite often as like one of the most problematic issues a team could have, right? Especially when you have like a team leader like doing a mission, and if he's egotistical, then he might not listen to the advice of his team, right? And everyone's input matters, especially when you're talking about life or death situations, right? Like you don't want to be making decisions just because like I'm in charge, you know? You want to get calm, collected, get multiple points of view, and then act. I should listen to more Jocko stuff though. I used to for a bit. He did this one, whenever he reads, like that's good content. Like there's such gravity, you know, that he carries with his voice. And the whole grayscale, you know, like it's either I forget his co-host's name, but his co-host and like maybe some third guy like sitting at the table quietly listening, you know. I really dig the atmosphere. But he did this one episode about World War One, and that I felt was like, I don't want to say peak content for him or whatever, but like it was so good. Like just the way that the book was written and the way he read it, and like of course the content, right, of the book. It was just so good. Oh my god. I think I want to like buy that book after listening to a bit of it. But that was like a year or two ago. It was some time. Maybe it's been like, yeah, 2 years probably. Time flies, people. Use it wisely. It's actually funny, my YouTube recommendations, stuff about He-Man and Skeletor popped up again. I say again because, like, you know, when it came out and it was relevant, I was like seeing that type of stuff. But yeah, seeing it pop again. I really love how they did He-Man. Like, I didn't watch it, you know, but they did it justice, it seems. I'm not a fan, so I can't really say, right? Like, if it does justice to what was laying before, right? But the animation, the writing, like the dialogue, right? It feels very He-Man. Yeah, I think they did Skeletor. I think they did a good job with Skeletor's character too. Like he's kind of like a like he's downright evil for sure, but like there's a level of like comedy to him, you know? It's very interesting. Hmm. Nice. These look like birds. Goes about right there. You know, I just thought I should do this puzzle stuff. Well, maybe I should do the puzzle stuff for the town screens and heroes hour that I worked on. That'd be fun. I mean, like, given that like the colors are flat, like I don't know if it'll be really good, but there's a lot of like elements going on in those town screens usually. I should be able to just kind of find what I'm looking for. Boom. Another one. I did a lot of talking this session. Had a lot on my mind. So I don't want to use this session really as like a determinator of how fast I can get these done. Ah, it's up here. Ah. Like I see these like little patches. And I'm thinking, where does it go? This is probably a cloud. Alright, I'm losing my mind. I gotta find, this goes right here. Good. Alright, and this goes down here. There we go, okay. Progress. Nice. Very nice. I've also been watching Magic Commander games. Not the one put out by I should know his name. He's like, oh baby, that's our rainforest we're talking about. Or whatever, that guy. Charlie? I think it's Charlie. Not his one, but Tolarian Studios. They've been doing commander games forever. But the professor is a great character. And they do all sorts of like, they do themed games, they do themed games and like variants of Commander with like different rules, right? Or like, you know, the decks have price limits, or like you can dig for treasure. I really like that. The finale episode they did with like the with the demon that like prevented people from losing the game. Oh my god. That was fucking hilarious. Kudos to the blue mage who like brought his fucking riddle deck and faced out. I ate that up. Oh my gosh. My Island by Raul Vitali. That's my deck. It's just Islands by Raul Vitali. The music has stopped. There we go. Then we're gonna grab these pieces again. Fix them up. Aha. There we go. Nice. So, another thing about the Magic Commander stuff, I was introduced to, well, I say I was introduced, but like, I don't know how to say it, exposed to? Like, there was another character in that finale episode. He had black hair, and he was the one who was cursed with the demon initially. And like, one of his videos popped up to me on YouTube, and I clicked on it. And I was like, oh, times two it, right? And like, he's, you know, talking about magic, and like, he's fucking high caliber conversation about magic, like, to start off, right? Like, he is like attaching a lot of themes and using verbose language and all this stuff. And then, you know, waiting 8 minutes pass, and I'm like, oh, well, okay, it's taking a bit, right? Like, I don't really see a full-on conclusion here. And I look at the video, and it's a 2-hour long video where he's just like going on. And I'm like, holy crap. He is a very passionate content creator, which is awesome. But I just didn't really understand like the degree to which he talks about it. And he was talking about like how a lot of the sets are they're harkening back to things that were great and not leading up to something that is going to be great or whatever, right? And I thought that was like a really well made point. Because like, I've been following Magic for years, and I love the setting, like Ravnica and all that. The Ravnica, his thoughts on Ravnica, I thought were really, or no, was it? I think I'm mixing it up. I think the professor did this one. The professor had a video on the Ravnica stuff and how it compares to excuse me. The Outlaws of Thunder Junction, I think that's what it's called, and some other stuff, right? But like, he's so right in that, like, you know, the people around Ravnica should not be running around like all suddenly with fedoras, right? And like the whole theme of the investigator or whatever it is, like the noir themes, like one investigator, right? Like going through this space, right? Exploring the setting and yada yada. It's not like 100 investigators, right? So I kind of get why there could be confusion though, and like, or there could be mistakes in the execution of a noir set like that, because like, you want there to be a cohesive aesthetic throughout the set, especially for the different colors, right? But like, they could have done like different colors represent different, like, well, for lack of a better term, like factions or aesthetics moving throughout the space, right? Like Demir easily could be like ninjas, not that ninjas particularly fit noir, but guess what? You know, it's like, it's a sneaky theme. You know, it set them apart from like the investigators or investigator, right? Like, we just needed more, like, I guess, tribe specific things going on, right? I say tribe like color tribe, right? I feel. So the guy I was talking about first, who did the 2-hour video, yeah, he was talking about like how, you know, the a lot of the sets recently are like, you know, expanding upon or highlighting things that already were great, not are great, or going to be great, right? I thought this was a really well made point. But how I feel about the whole, like, you know, sets that like are like 40k or are you know, Fallout or Doctor Who or whatever, right? I think ultimately it's a good way to bring new people into the game. You know, give them their little moment, right? Like, give them, you know, some references and all that so that they can get behind it, right? And then just move on. I think there are, obviously I am biased in that, like, I dig the 40k stuff. Not that I bought a 40k pre-con or anything, but I think 40k is an example of a setting that like still has something to build up to. So you can definitely do more content with that. And there are many other ways to, like, get other IPs in there, right, for Magic the Gathering and bring more people into it. But at some point, I do wonder what the future of Magic's going to be like when you have all these different commander sets that are just grabbing from different IPs all the time, right? Like, we already have 40K, we have I just mentioned it, Doctor Who, and then we have oh god, I swear to god they did an MLP set too. What else? They did like a Street Fighter thing. That was Secret Lair though. That was like a full-on commander deck, right? But point being, there's gonna be more. There might be like Game of Thrones. I could easily see that. There could be like Cyberpunk, and I don't know how I feel about the game devolving into. Well, I say devolving, but the game becoming like this kind of melting pot of all these different IPs in the same space. Like, it just, at some point, I like the cohesive aesthetic, right? Like, so that's why I'm excited for the new set about like the little animal critters. It's very fairy tale, very like, old school storytelling Magic stuff. And I think that fits the setting of MTG really well too, right? Like, it's not just like Fortnite, There may be some characters that we can explore and get behind and do something new, But we're getting to that point in the we're getting close to the singularity of creation, right? In that, like, now that AI can just whip up all this art and stuff, like, it's helping humans, like, human artists are using AI to like come up with concepts and all that, right? So they get like work faster, right? Get reference material, or if you're just like making AI spit out images, right? Like, and so you tie the AI stuff, right, with brain chips, like Elon Musk's brain chips, with like programs that are. I saw this program where this guy was making brush strokes, and like it just generates like artwork based on like the color of the brush stroke and like the width of the brush stroke, and like other parameters. And there's like a website you can go onto right now that does landscapes like that. So you combine like basically machine telepathy with that, and like we're getting to this point where art is going to be made so fast by all like levels of artists, I guess, by people, right? Like, or just all levels, right? Like, because humans, I feel, are going to be almost as fast as AI at some point, right? Like, if we're working at the speed of thought and like past 100 years, right, and like we're improving our brains with these brain chips, and we're having better understandings of genes and how the body works and whatever, right? And like we're min-maxing that shit on top of like like I imagine that like digital painting, like how we do it these days, so how most artists do it these days, is going to get obsoleted by, not obsoleted, but phased out in favor of like systems that use more AI throughout the process. I think it's going to be a slow, gradual like march towards, I put a brush stroke down with some little white highlights and it makes like a little wave for me, right? And it's like, because right now what we have is like we can set up brushes manually that can do amazing things, like the thigh brush, right? And it's I think that the amount of human effort required to like do input to make quote unquote art, that's going to get blurred, like the amount of human effort required, right? And I think eventually it will nudge towards more and more automation over time, right? So point being, ultimate point is that, like, you know, as much as I dig going back to the old folklore stuff and, you know, not doing IP-centric things, like, when you have the power to, like, make an entire magic set in, like, probably 3 days, because, like, you know, they're going to get their ability to balance down really well, they're going to have artists who just snap out artwork like that, you know, like, everything's going to get streamlined. Like, I don't know, bro. Like, things are just going to get crazy fast. Like, it's hard to imagine how fast people will be creating content in the future. I really wish I was born like 500 years from now, just to see like what it would be like. I don't think everything would be like 100%, you know, better across the board, but given the march of progress, and in presuming that, like, you know, no fucking nuclear war starts or whatever that like stops it, I don't know. It's gonna be wild. One thought that's been floating around in my mind about AI art, because like I try to have not really like a nuanced, well, I would like to have a nuanced opinion about it, right? I've been talking to a bunch of people about it, and there's a law that got, I think there's a law that got passed because someone showed me a video, so I'm going to presume a law got passed, where like a company can't own copyright over AI images, right? Which is fine and dandy. But before realizing that, I had the position of art and AI art is different. And the reason why I came to that conclusion is because, like, and I got this conclusion by talking to like other artists and listening to how other people talk about art, right? Like, so when you hire an artist to do a thing and they make some artwork for you, you're buying human achievement, right? And so that is intrinsically more valuable. Well, say intrinsically. See, the question of value is like always been nebulous in the art realm, right? So like my perspective is that human achievement is intrinsically more valuable than AI art, because like AI art can be summoned so easily, it's less valuable. Like, some people look at AI art and be like, there's no soul in it, right? There's no human effort, therefore it's not valuable, right? Now everyone has that determination, but definitely some people do, right? And some people might even just call them AI images. They might not even call them AI art, right? And so I think that the product is different, right? Now, thinking. The product is different. I just think that there's a future where like people will be hired to be prompters and like try to generate AI images, or like to get like an effect right out of like AI. Because like there's already like hidden ways to do prompts and all that. Like, some people know these like really good prompts to get like these interesting images out of the AI, right? And I think that once automation starts like destroying all these jobs, already is destroying all these manual repetitive labor jobs, humans will be moved to prompting for like low wage labor. Now, of course, like AI can prompt itself, right? But I kind of feel like you need the human to like, currently you need the human to double check if it's a good prompt or not, right? Give it the thumbs up or thumbs down. So yeah, my position on AI right now is that AI art it lacks that human achievement factor, and therefore is like a different product altogether, right? And it ends there. I don't think it should be sold unless like the artist, unless explicit permission is given by the artists use to train the AI, right? And that leads me to another point. I think that like in the future, what's going to happen is that like artists will train their own little AIs, and they'll sell those AIs to companies. That's what I think is going to happen. Which is going to be freaking wild. And like, you know, what the company would do is that like if they could like get close to a thing that they wanted but not exactly, they could like hire the artist to go in and like actually do the specific thing that they need, right? Or like they would just, you know, fucking outsource it or some shit. But that's the future I see. It's gonna get crazy. There we go. The problem is that the snow looks like the sky. I feel like that goes around there. There we go. Nice. Lots of colors in that piece. So they released a new bunny champion for League of Legends. Well, surprised it didn't happen sooner with the popularity of Final Fantasy. I don't really have too many thoughts on her yet. Just like a cute character at the moment. I think Redhead Bunny is an interesting take, though. I haven't seen that. I don't think. It's funny. I like redheads, but I don't have like a redhead character. I have one actually, but she isn't like. I never really sat down to develop her. It's getting tricky. It's getting really tricky, actually. Going for the edge pieces. Hmm. There we go. All right. No way. That was fucking sick. Well, no, I gotta find where these go, right? Found it. I was like, there's no way it's there. But no, it was there indeed. I slapped that one down thinking it would work. It goes here. Durr. Nice. Almost done. What next? Clouds should be easiest. I say should. Man, it really stumped on these clouds. Okay, so first of all, this goes here. Done. This goes here. This curve is so clean. It goes here. It felt like it was getting obscured by the puzzle piece a little bit. Okay. This is sideways, goes here. Hey. The colors are so different. Gotta really put your mind into a space to look for that. I wonder if I should change the background of the table. I feel like I should, but that might also make it hard to find pieces. I don't know. Aha. I was looking for a little triangle. Little nice swooshes there on that puzzle piece, very soft. I dig it. There we go. That makes more sense. I see a little heart in the cloud. Do you see that heart right there? I wonder if that's intentional. Little things like that you'd miss when you're scrolling through Twitter. There we go. There's another little heart here. No way, this isn't correct though. There we go. There it is. I'm looking for this brush stroke right here. Nice. Oh, isn't that a heart? Cute. Man, this guy's cloud game. It's on point. Although I do think the transition right here is a bit too rough, but he was obviously being loose with it. I was looking at that one for a while. Ta-da! So this would like go through all the players and tell you how many points they collected. Pretty cool. Yeah, take a look at this though. Isn't that beautiful? It's very amazing. And from the brushwork and the grass. And I love the detail work too. It's not just like an easy rolling, you know, grassy hill. Like there's rocks coming up and there's trees. Using the red for the trees was a very interesting choice. I know there's like red maples, but I don't know if there's like red pines. So I don't know exactly what trees these are. I mean, it's obviously a fantasy setting, right? Where he just says he does fantasy landscapes. So, sure, red pines, right? Who's yawning? But I think they work well in the color comp, right? Like, a lot of great contrast here. If they were green, you know, there'd be just that distinction between the blues of the sky and the mountains and like the greens of this foreground. But I think having the red kind of makes it a bit more readable, right? In terms of like the elements that are being splashed here. Especially given the looseness of the brush strokes, right? But you'd still be able to determine that these are pines if they're green. But I digress. I think that the flow is like amazing. You have like this kind of motion, right? But mostly, at least if you go by like the American way, I say the American way, but like reading left to right type way, top to bottom, the eye is going to start somewhere over here. So having the clouds kind of come down, and you're kind of like drawn to this point, and it kind of leads you down the composition. That it also works from there too. I think it's also interesting how the middle of the page has this kind of bright saturated spot, and then like a lot of the other elements are kind of washed out, right? I say washed out, but like I would have to put it on I have to take it in the clips here to tell, but like I mean these are pretty damn saturated, these yellows, right, with the blues, but I think this is like the resting spot for the eye, which I think is quite nice. Right at the center. I want to say right at the center, whatever, right center-ish. That's something I haven't really considered too much with my pieces, is like, where does the eye rest, right? Because like, if you have activity everywhere and like information everywhere, it might get like a bit too crazy, or unless you want like a feeling of like, I guess, energy and excitement, right? Then you might want energy everywhere on the page, but having the spot to focus on and just kind of like chill is pretty cool. It's good contrast, right? Contrast between this and like the other elements that surround it. So the negative space, it's important, people. The warms and the clouds are very nice. I think they're almost necessary given the reds of the pines. So I think the color balance is like really well done in this piece. And look how like just loose the mountain is. Like you could definitely tell it's mountain, and he gets away with that too because like it's in the shadow, right? So like I think this moment's a bit weird. I don't know why that's so sharp, but I think it kind of like punches through the page. He has like this and this going on. I think that's, you could have cleaned those up a little bit. Maybe he just wanted to show like a contour for the edge of these rocks, right? So I get it for that reason. But anyways, so things in the shadow are easier to do because you could just be really loose with them. I mean, this stuff is pretty loose as well, right? Like it's not that much more detail. I would even hesitate to say detail, right? Because it's like he's just so good at indicating the texture with just simple brushwork. I wonder if there's some blur going on here too, because like there's some effect going on that's like gives it that distant, like as if you took a picture feeling, right? Like this stuff looks blurred, like there's some sort of blur effect going on, you know? Like subtly. At least that's my impression. Yeah, the cloud game's pretty sweet too. I think this moment right here is a bit too rough. I think this transition's a bit too rough. But otherwise, I think overall it looks pretty damn good. I love the path down here too. Like you can imagine yourself in this environment. I think that the moments of like light are very interesting. Because like, while one could argue these lights probably shouldn't be here, it makes the page a bit more, or the image illustration, a bit more like active. Gives you kind of more interesting little notes of like energy to pick up on, right? And it kind of like, there's a lot of stuff going on here, which I kind of like, because it kind of leads you into this valley. It's very interesting. Like, so I don't know how that came to be, because like maybe he painted on top of like a much lighter color, perhaps, or maybe he put them in afterward. I like the like messy brushwork up here, to be honest. Like when you look at it, it's like, okay, you know, maybe you could have done a bit better at this point, but like, you know, it does capture the feel of that transition from light to dark with the snow. And like it's just so economical. You didn't have to sit here and like render out, you know, exactly what it looks like. You just done, you know? I think this moment is a bit sus. Like I think he could have done a bit better than that. I think I would have preferred maybe the clouds to separate these two things. Or the snow. Like, I kind of get how it like rolls up into the other mountain though. Like you have that going for you. And maybe you don't want like such a huge separation between the foreground background, right? Because like then there's like less unity in the piece. Makes it feel like two different images maybe. But I think this is a bit too messy. But otherwise, like, everything looks so organic and nice, and just like, especially at distance, it's like, oh my god, so beautiful. All right, well, thank you for joining me. I got nothing else to say about this piece. It's fantastic work. If you want to check out some artists' work, some artists' work, there's a link in the description. If you want to check out my work, there's a link in the description as well. Until next time, happy crafting.